she walked into my yard again. This time, screaming that the smell of my grill was giving her nightmares, that I was poisoning her baby, that I was murdering animals. So I dug a massive pit in my backyard, smoked an entire pig, and invited the entire neighborhood. And when she finally snapped in front of everyone, I had the whole thing on video. If you've ever had someone cross every boundary and try to control your life, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because this is one of the most satisfying stories of standing up to self-righteous bullies you'll ever hear. My wife and I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind where you wave at your neighbor over the fence, maybe borrow a ladder once in a while, but mostly just mind your own business. Peaceful. Predictable. That is, until the neighbor's adult son moved back in. Well, not exactly into their house, more like above it. They converted the garage into a little upstairs apartment and let him and his girlfriend move in. And from the moment she stepped foot into our neighborhood, something felt off. Let's call her Sierra. Sierra had this air about her, like she was doing the rest of us a favor by simply existing near us. You know the type. Wears hemp everything, starts every sentence with, "as a mother," and finishes it with some lecture about morality or the environment. At first, I tried to be nice. I smiled, I introduced myself, I even offered to help them carry a dresser up the narrow staircase to the garage loft. She just looked at me like a fossil from a barbaric time. And then it began. The first complaint was about my lawn. Now, I'll admit it, I love my lawn. It's my pride and joy. I mow it 3 times a week, fertilize it, edge it sharp enough to make a golf course jealous. It's therapy for me. But Sierra came strutting into my yard, arms folded, face tight. Do you have any idea what you're putting into the environment with all those chemicals? You're literally giving my newborn cancer. She didn't ask. She declared it, like it was a known fact that weed and feed was a biological weapon and I was some backyard war criminal. I was stunned. I tried to explain that I use organic, child-safe products. She just scoffed and walked away mid-sentence. Next, she came for my grill. That weekend, I was grilling ribs, the smell of mesquite charcoal and hickory wood filling the summer air. It was perfect. Until Sierra marched into my backyard again. "You need to stop grilling. The smell is triggering me. I'm vegetarian, and I have actual nightmares about the animals that are murdered for your meals." Again, no conversation, just judgment, condemnation. It didn't stop there. She hated my diesel cars, told me I was clinging to toxic masculinity and needed to get electric. She hated my solar panels, of all things, because they were manufactured unethically and caused planetary harm. There was nothing I could do right. Every week brought a new, unsolicited opinion, a new demand, a new visit into my yard like it was some public park she had jurisdiction over. And the worst part? Her boyfriend, the son of my neighbor, never said a word. He just stood behind her like a human echo. But I kept quiet. I let it go. I figured if I ignored it, she'd get bored and move on. She didn't. Then came the breaking point. It was a Saturday. I'd just come home from work. She was already in my yard. She was waiting for me. This time, she had a petition. She wanted me to sign something pledging I would stop using all fossil fuels and animal-derived products on my property. I kid you not. That's when something in me snapped. And that's when the idea hit me. If she wanted to see my lifestyle as a problem, then maybe I'd show her what a real problem looks like. So here's what I did. I started digging. Literally. Right in the middle of my backyard, I dug a massive pit, 6 feet long, 2 feet deep, lined it with stones, bought a stack of hickory wood tall enough to build a cabin. Then I got the pig, a whole pig, wrapped it in banana leaves, seasoned it with garlic, salt, cumin, paprika, and lemon juice. I had it marinating for days. And I made flyers. Not digital invites, actual printed flyers. I dropped one off at every house on the block, including my neighbors. Quote, Neighborhood Luau, free food, drinks, and music. Saturday and Sunday, whole hog roast, sides, and more. Bring a friend, unquote. I didn't mention Sierra in name. I didn't have to. By 2 p.m. Saturday, the smell was heavenly. People started showing up around 3. Lawn chairs, coolers, music playing, kids running around. I made sure the pit was in full view from Sierra's upstairs window. And oh boy, she saw. I caught her glaring down like she'd just witnessed a war crime. A few minutes later, boom, her door slams open. She storms across the yard. Hair in a bun, baby on one hip, rage on her face. You're sick. You're cooking a corpse. Do you have any idea what this is doing to my child's mental health? People turned to look. It got quiet. She started yelling at the guests, screaming about carbon footprints, animal cruelty, the patriarchy. It was a full TED Talk breakdown. I didn't say a word. I just stood there with a pair of tongs, flipping pork shoulder like it was the most normal day ever. Eventually, she ran out of breath, and people stopped pretending to be polite. One of the moms whispered, "Maybe you should go home." Another guy muttered, "We're here for the food, not your lecture." And then came the final move. I turned to her, smiled, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "We've got plenty of leftovers. Hate to see 'em go to waste." She lost it, screamed, swore, threatened to call the EPA, swam the baby gate so hard it knocked over one of her planters. And the whole thing was on camera. Yep, my security system caught it all. 6 glorious minutes. The next morning, I uploaded it to our neighborhood Facebook group with this caption. For those who've asked why I've been a little on edge lately, here's a peek into my weekends. Let's just say I wasn't the only one tired of Sierra. The post exploded. Dozens of comments. People thanking me for exposing the nonsense. Someone even offered to bring ribs next time. Sierra and her boyfriend? Haven't seen them outside since. They took down their little protest signs. She stopped her weekly invasions. And last I heard, they're looking for a new place. I never raised my voice, never insulted her, never laid a finger. I just let the smell of justice and slow-roasted pork do the talking. Sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't about shouting louder. It's about letting someone destroy their own argument while you hand out pulled pork sandwiches. Boundaries matter. And when someone keeps crossing the line, a little smoky reminder can work wonders. If this story made you cheer, laugh, or cringe a little, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because this is one of the most satisfying stories of standing up to self-righteous bullies you'll ever hear. And tell us in the comments, what's the pettiest or most deliciously clever revenge you've ever seen? We'll be reading.